I'm John Bowers. Several days ago, I had the opportunity to watch a documentary called The Hope and the Change. It's a 68-minute film done by Stephen K. Bannon and released through Citizens United Productions. I was sufficiently impressed by this documentary that I decided to get in touch with Citizens United and ask permission to use a series of excerpts from the film as part of this video review, and they agreed. Now, it was the simplicity of the premise, I think, and the authenticity and professionalism of the execution that really caught my attention. Their film crews went out to the swing states, the key swing states around the country, the ones that most people think will be the deciding factor in the election, and spoke with 40 hardworking voters in Colorado, Iowa, Virginia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Florida, and Ohio, to search out, and these are the words from the liner notes, to search out these heartfelt stories of Americans who have lost faith in their president. Now, I want to say from the outset that this is not a political polemic, but rather it is an opportunity for us to hear in their own words what it's been like for these enthusiastic Obama supporters to experience the last 4 years and how that's impacted their thinking on the president. It's told in their own words exclusively. There's no commentary whatever, and I found it very credible, very honest, often passionate, and quite moving. Now, the film is organized along chronological lines. So, in the beginning, we get to hear a cross section of views of these folks who were very enthusiastic at the prospect of Barack Obama becoming president. Some of it veering into adulation, I would say, adoration even. And then we get to see a couple of years further along where many of them are still patient, willing to wait to watch the president execute on the promises he made, and then coming through to the full 4 years where life has unfolded for them in many of the same ways that it's unfolded for others around the country, and how that experience has changed their view of the president and his policies. Now, I've chosen about 16 minutes, and I've done it in a way that gives, I hope, a flavor of the transition of the film. But I really encourage you to watch the entire thing. You can get it on a DVD by going to www.thehopeandthechange.com. You can also, if you prefer, at that website, choose to download it as a video on demand. But I think it will give you a rare and unadorned opportunity to see what 40 ordinary Americans have experienced, and how their view has evolved over time, and how for them, and perhaps for millions around the country, change this time around will have a very different face. I hope you will enjoy. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll enjoy the previews. And so sit back and relax and watch a few minutes from The Hope and the Change.
Absolutely certain that generations from now we will be able to look back and tell our children that this was the moment when we began to provide care for the sick and good jobs for the jobless. This was the moment when the rise of the ocean began to slow and our planet began to heal. This was the moment when we ended the war and secured our nation and restored our image as the last best hope on earth. Tonight is your answer. ones we've been waiting for.
I voted Democrat.
I'm a lifelong Democrat.
I've been down in Florida for about 12 years now.
Just been here in Des Moines, Iowa for about 23 years.
I'm a Democrat. I've always been a Democrat.
My dad was a Democrat. My mother was a Democrat. I've converted my wife to a Democrat.
Democrat all my life.
Independent.
I'm a Democrat. We settled in Cleveland area.
I'm a registered independent.
Well, I grew up over on the east side of Pittsburgh.
Been in Colorado off and on since 1970.
And it's just a choice I made in my teens to go Democratic. That's what I thought would be the right choice.
I felt, the energy and the belief that, hey, we're gonna do even better. We're gonna see some better energy alternatives. Gas prices will go down. Maybe we'll start producing things in the United States again that people want to buy with high quality. I mean, I was really getting that feeling that we're embarking on something new and what looks great here.
It was just that hope, that spirit. It was just undeniable. The feeling you got watching him win, because you thought that it was just this wind of change coming in and all of these things were going to at least be looked at, if not done and taken care of for our country.
Let's get this hope and change thing moving.
You just felt very, very comfortable with him. He was, sincere.
Obama was such a dynamic guy.
Was a very good orator.
Barack Obama, he just seemed to have easy manners, seemed to have a grasp of the issues.
This was it. This was going to be the turnaround.
I was very, very excited.
I saw something different in him.
The change was going to be better jobs, better income.
Getting out of debt, getting out of the war, getting back to blue-collared Americans, producing products and selling them.
The economy was going to, rise.
I was ecstatic. I was excited.
This isn't going to be typical Washington.
I had such a great feeling of happiness and joy.
It was a good thing. We accomplished what we were hoping to.
The person I wanted to win had won.
And that change that you saw coming, it actually felt real.
It was idyllic to me. It was just phenomenal to see that.
There was hope that we could pull the country out of the recession we were in.
This was someone who would make a difference, would make the change that was proposed.
That would answer every question, give us everything that we need for everybody.
I was thinking that this is it. We are going to have a better life.
As time went on, I started to see the bailouts finished, and then I saw unemployment rising and rising.
I think he is in over his head.
I don't think he was well prepared for these problems.
I don't think that I got what I was expecting.
What I see now is not, who I saw during his campaign.
Obama says a lot of things, but his actions are often different.
For the millions of Americans who are looking for work, and for those who are struggling in this economy, full recovery can't come soon enough. I hear from you at town hall meetings like this. I read your letters. The stories I hear are the first thing that I think about in the morning. They're the last thing I think about at night.
What are you looking for? Well, a couple of things. I'm big on momentum, especially in a tournament like this one. I like teams with good point guards. You've got to go with Kentucky at this point.
They're the focus of my attention every waking minute of every day.
Indiana's too tough on this one. I like Baylor. New Mexico against Louisville. New Mexico, I think, is going to end up winning this one. All right, Murray State against Marquette. Murray State was the last undefeated team. They won 30 games. Yeah, but, and I think congratulations to them, but Syracuse against Kansas State. Syracuse gets the first one. I've got Wisconsin down here.
Now, do I think due diligence was done by the media, by me personally, as well as it maybe could have been? Probably not. And I think it was the charming story and that godforsaken slogan, hope and change, and I'm gonna make it all better. We're gonna change this. We're gonna turn this around.
We have come through a difficult decade, but a new year has come. A new decade stretches before us. We don't quit. I don't quit.
The man is
very good public speaker.
He's a great speaker.
Let's seize this moment to start anew, to carry the dream forward, and to strengthen our union once more.
But that's part of the sale.
I watched his speeches very closely for about the first 2.5, 3 years, and it got to the point where he is really, really repetitive.
It's time to get serious about fixing the problems that are hampering our growth. Let's fix what needs fixing, and let's move forward. Tonight I want to speak about how we move forward.
I pretty much lost all faith in it right there because I watched him pull the exact same show.
It's the same things over and over again.
I just don't want to listen to it anymore.
I'm tired of looking at him speak on TV and his speeches and the teleprompters.
These are also tough times for many Americans struggling in our sluggish economy. Millions of Americans don't have a job. Many more are struggling to pay the bills or stay in their homes.
Everybody knows that it makes no sense that you send a kid to the emergency room for a treatable illness like asthma. They end up taking up a hospital bed. It costs, they just gave them treatment early, and they got some treatment and a breathalyzer, or an inhalator, not a breathalyzer. I haven't had much sleep in the last 48 hours, so.
To nurture and sustain a culture of scientific innovation. In addition to John, sorry, I just noticed that I jumped the gun here. Go ahead and move it up.
Just seemed to me like, you know, maybe he was as confused as the rest of us.
It would cost about the same as what we would spend over the course of 10 years. It would cost what it would cost us. All right, okay.
I sometimes wonder if he really grasps what the problems really are.
Change was the cause of my campaign. It is the cause of my presidency.
When we say yes to change, and yes to hope, and yes to all of these things, but we don't ask specific, you're waiting to see what can be delivered.
When Obama proposed the universal health care and government-run health care, we were mired in debt. Unemployment was an issue. The bailouts had just happened. So here we were with all these negatives, and the president said, you know, well, let's wag the dog. Let's put a focus on health care.
It's actually diversion. It's like a magician.
Obama's a great con artist.
You look at this way, and you sort of don't see what's happening in the other. And that's actually what he's doing.
It's kind of like lighting a fire on the left side of the room so you don't see the the building collapsing on the right.
I don't know what's going on here, but I was raised in a different America than we have now.
Right now, I don't even see a glimpse of the American dream in the future.
I think people are afraid. People are fearful for their next meal sometimes.
I fear that for them. I fear they're not going to be able to look at the American dream the way that I looked at it when I came to the United States. I think everything is going to be 10 times harder for them in regards to, you know, getting what I had attained, you know, the last 20 years and what I've lost in the last 5 years.
When you live paycheck to paycheck, how can you put money away? You can't.
The American dream has been destroyed.
If I would have met my wife 15 years earlier, at that point in time, I was making enough money. I would have had the time and the money. She would not have had to have worked. She could have spent all her time that she wanted to with our kids. I would have been able to do the weekend thing, the whole backyard barbecue American dream. But you don't get that anymore, and instead you fight and struggle.
Things are going to continue to spiral out of control if Obama continues for another 4 years.
Well, it's a scary thing out there.
I feel like it's Big Brother coming in the front door, and more things are to come if things don't change.
One of the changes that Barack had talked about
in the 2008 election was to make a more united United States.
What do you think of Obama and his administration?
He's divided the United States.
Atrocious.
We kind of got cheated.
It's almost like buyer's remorse. You just have that tendency of wanting to almost take the item back and see if you can get your money back.
Obama's that suave type guy that is very much like the guy in the neighborhood that all the girls swoon over. But the moment he beds you down, which is really ultimately the goal, there's nothing else left for him to seek after.
I think the legacy of Barack Obama is going to be that he made a lot of promises, got into office, and couldn't fulfill them.
If stuff hasn't worked, and people don't feel like I've led the country in the right direction, then you'll have a new president.
When I hear the phrase hope and change, I definitely think of bait and switch.
He will no longer be able to charm, con, BS, whomever to get that vote because he's not getting money.
You're standing there with a look of shock on your face going, I don't even know if I can recover from this.
It's just that I thought, just like a lot of people, he promised a change and we all got fooled.
I may not be able to change my past, but I most certainly will be able to have a choice for my future.
We've come too far to abandon the change we fought for these past few years.
I'm sure will be tons of speeches that say exactly what I want to hear.
If people ask you, what's this campaign about?
I'm not interested in what he says anymore. I'm interested in what he's done.
You tell them it's still about hope.
I don't know if we can recover from this.
You tell them it's still about change. Hope. Change. Hope. Change.
I guess as he would say it, we're ready for a change.
And I don't feel he deserves a second chance.
He promised change.
Promise, promise, promise.
Obama let me down.
It's sad. It makes me angry. That really makes me very, very angry.
It just hasn't worked.
4 more years of Barack Obama would just be 4 more years of gridlock.
We tried change, and this is what change got us.
It'll be a travesty if that happens.
I could not vote for another 4 years of Obama.
I voted for the wrong guy.
Let's get the nation back in order.
I am not voting for President Obama. That much I do know.
He's done a lousy job.
He didn't make good on any of his promises. Smoke and mirrors.
Farther and farther in debt.
Deficit is going up.
Business is closing.
Government handouts.
I'm so disappointed.
I expected a lot more.
We're divided.
We're spending way too much.
I have no optimism.
I fear for my children.
People are angry.
It's more discussed at this point.
I'm exhausted and I'm tired.
The healthcare costs are going up.
False hope.
To me, it looks very dismal.
It's not hopeful.
That's just heartbreaking.
I've always been a Democrat.
I am a Democrat.
I live in Florida.
Registered Democrat.
I'm an independent.
I was raised Democrat.
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 On the east side of Des Moines, Iowa.
I voted for President Obama.
I voted for Obama.
Of course I voted for.
Northeast Ohio.
Democrat.
Virginia.
My background's more independent.
Typically, I vote more Democrat, but not this election.
I cannot vote for President Obama again.
He didn't come up with any solutions.
I'm gonna do this. It makes me angry. I'm gonna do that.
Here's what happened.
Big mistake.
Is
Gonna fall on deaf ears this time.
You don't care what their excuse is.
We're done.
I'm a Democrat. I always been a Democrat.
I voted for Obama. Just afraid.
I made a mistake.
He wasn't what he said he was.
He voted for Barack Obama. Very frustrated with Barack Obama.
I have no faith in Obama. He's made it.
I am a registered Democrat. Promises that were just not kept.
Manipulated by
Finally, for Obama.
Obama.